peak, but yes, we are ending the first day on the best map ever, and that is Miramar.
Fair, fair. I mean, I crowned the SKS the best DMR. You get to say that Miramar is the best
I get mine,
map.
you get yours.
Fair.
Yeah.
We get a pick each. We get a pick each. Not subjective at all, obviously, as the players are taken to the sky, and some of them actually getting closer and closer to the ground already, because a lot of the teams have opted to jump on out. And I love the fact that we're looking at this leaderboard, 4 games into the grand finals, a third of the way through. And 2 of the teams sat all the way down the bottom, Na'Vi and Valentine, were both teams that had a phenomenal day on Miramar in their group stage games. So I'm hoping to see them shake up the leaderboard a bit by coming out strong. AG Global as well have been able to fare well on Miramar. Them too, I hope we'll see step it up as we now hop on over here to the Sandy Dunes.
I've also been liking what I've been seeing from Valentine as far as the ideas they're implementing, trying to cut off rotations, playing the edge, the way that they played them so well in the group stages. The problem is that they just have not been able to get it going as far as getting the kills, getting the knocks. And so if they can just put that together, they have a good chance, especially on Miramar, as you said, them and Na'Vi, to have really solid games and push their way up the leaderboard, at least towards the middle of the pack. Definitely
do. As we see here again, of course, a very eastern playing path making it hard to reach some of those, I mean, usually pretty customary loot spots of Chuma, Monte, and El Pozo. Circle will swing center north, so really,
a little friendly,
for the majority
at least.
of the teams,
yeah,
they're going to be very well off. And even for the teams that aren't center, if you look towards Na'Vi, if you look towards Valentine, as talked about before, they prefer playing edge anyway, so it actually isn't too big of an issue for them to be in this side of the circle.
And we can even just talk about the circle in general, right? There is so much cover, so many different compounds, and so many ridges and mountains to play that this actually...
Oh, wait.
Hold on a second.
Oh, he sees a car now. Turn around, you saw the vehicle. Take his car instead and leave. Is he staying? Pow, you're crazy. You see a car inside the building. That is your sign to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's no way he doesn't realize that there's someone there, right?
Is he waiting for Lin Shu to pick him up? He has to be. Again, this is obviously a byproduct of an Eastern playing path. Teams are forced to play in suboptimal positions. And now, I mean, you know what? If you have to take a 1v1 early game, might as well bring a rocket launch to a knife fight.
Okay, well, they will get out, and of course he's going to save that bad boy for a later time. But yeah, as we're saying, the circle, it's very conducive for a lot of teams, right? It's not like Tego, or we saw a lot of teams having to bunch up, play this open space. No, not the case, and that's why I love Miramar so much. It gives teams room to breathe.
Definitely. The only thing I would say with this particular area of the map is that the circle center, at least early game, because we know some of the center teams will try and maintain split positions early on, there's not going to be that much room for that many different teams to center up. So where normally in phase 1 you'll have about like a half to a whole kilometer of perimeter around the edge of the circle, this time around expect to see more teams out there, which for the teams that are coming in from the edge, Valentine, Na'Vi, potentially Danawa as well, where they would normally be pretty safe to rotate as they placed on the edge because everyone seeks somewhat center. Now, because not so many teams can sit center, we're forcing everyone on the edge. Those same teams could run into trouble in the early game because they simply weren't prepared for the fight that was bound to happen.
You're absolutely right. It's going to cause a lot of congestion, especially on those edges, as we see a knock here coming out from FaZe onto Pow Pow. And they're about to be in a lot of trouble here, Toby, as FaZe is committing to this. Lin Shu, though, with that Panzer, could cause big problems for FaZe.
Yep, that's what I was oh-ohing about. I saw it, and I saw it early. Pow Pow will be flushed. Nothing Lin Shu can do about that. But how many guys do you run up the staircase at the same time? And how well does Lin Shu time this explosion is the question. We've seen it before. 1v4s are definitely doable in this area of the map. He's going to swap over. And you know what? Honestly, Corexi gets the kill there. But I think that might be a blessing in disguise for FaZe that just happened. CC now comes in, finds teams instantly. Corexi goes down as well. There's just 2 guys to respond. But CC and 7-7 are towering apart FaZe Clan.
And all of a sudden, it's just down to Fex. He finds himself in a 1-on-2 after coming in with the advantage, the opening on the team of Tianba. But now it's just 77 versus Fex. A helping hand coming from Duckmai.
Fex will survive and might actually get some players up alive too, because there's no one near that could potentially do damage in return. He's prone and healing. You know what the issue is here? Duckmai engaged from almost a kilometer distance. I think they think they're closer than what they really are. Gustav might actually bleed out here, not knowing that, I mean, for FaZe not knowing that the threat isn't at all as imminent as they thought it was.
And the problem is, how could they? Because during, I mean, in the confusion of shooting and the spraying up close, you really can't tell where that shot came from.
No clue whatsoever. Seems like they will. I mean, since I'm not seeing Gustav bleed out yet, I am hoping that means they are realizing the threat isn't nearby. But what a fight and what an attempt.
Crazy
Honestly,
fight.
yes, we lose Tianba early, and you can go, they just got 1 point. Them two had already lost both their teammates by the time they pulled up.
Yeah.
They instantly shredded 3 FaZe players. Tianba, I don't think, get the praise for their mechanical skill. Yes, Pow has had highlight reels and tournaments in the past, but as a whole, their close quarter fighting is incredibly good.
Very
issue
dangerous.
is, same issue as you were talking about with Virtus Pro in the group stages, they just oftentimes, when they do survive these early game shenanigans, only have 2-3 players alive come mid to end game, so they never get to utilize. Like, they never really set up a play style or early game play style that caters to their strengths in the late game.
Yeah, they usually are also one of those teams, as you said, like VP, who come in fractured, and that's such a big issue because they're so good at team fighting. Turning that 2v4 into a 1v1 at the very end, I mean, again, with the helping hand of Duckmai, it's still impressive stuff from them. And now looking at the circle, looking at these teams set up, I am specifically looking at Flash because that compound above that road in that ravine is one of the strongest compounds, especially when it's dead center. It's almost impossible to push.
I mean, one thing is how good the compound is from a play perspective. Another thing is that there's a massive magnet installed somewhere in the building that just has a tendency of sucking all the circles towards it. So get that compound and you'll be golden for a while. We'll see though if that's going to be the case here or if we do go elsewhere. But look, again, encourage you to have the map stream open. We do have one available. I look at the northeast. Of course, a lot of teams jumped out early on. It's really only Na'Vi who's going to be up there. Everyone really is coming in from the south or the southwestern side. Petrichor, Valitai, Na'Vi all here as we see the push from before they came in. Honestly, had Linshu taken out one from FaZe with that answer, that could have been Tianba winning it. Way more clean slate than what ended up happening. Here you see Linshu's flush at a distance. And this is where, as you said very correctly, so Godspeed, in the confusion of the warfare going on, they thought, oh wait, what if he's on the ridge line? What if he's nearby, ready to push? But
you also stated it. I don't think FaZe realize how lucky they are that that Panzer was switched. I mean, the timing was just perfection from Correxy. But I mean, looking at that fight, yes, the fact that FaZe at least recovered with 3 as well is very important for that team.
In what could easily have been a team wipe, I think you take 3 survivors any day of the week. But again, back to the point I was making before, everyone coming in on the western side, should this circle swing east, rotation paths, or northeast for that matter, rotation paths are going to be incredibly difficult. You can only really wrap all the way north around if you want to avoid having to just send it past compounds that could have an entire team positioned in there. So really everyone from Sonic's south, should this circle go northeast, there's going to be some clusters, like some traffic jams alongside those rotations.
But the one thing I'm worried about is actually looking at Valitai because, yes, they're playing Edge, and we know they're generally an Edge team, but I feel almost like they're maybe playing it too safe, right? Being that far on the edge, especially when you know the plane is this far east, you should have some room to flex west, get some more vantage points, get some more information. That's my main concern, is they don't really have any information on what's happening in the circle. Meanwhile, on the other side, you can see Na'Vi flexing in. They're realizing, guys, we have the entire north to ourselves.
I mean, if they really want to play aggressive, they can take over a third of this entire circle and just claim it for their own. And while I know Na'Vi likes to flex out and take control, I think that might be a bit too hard of a stretch. As we look towards Expendables, a 2-1-1 split currently with Duckjuice and Delvin, the 2 heavy hitters of the team. I say that actually, you know what? Tianba, you've been up there as well. These guys can all frag when need be. Got themselves an 18-kill win yesterday of Taiko. They've shown us that they're definitely all capable of fragging out.
So as the circle closes, most of the teams here find themselves quite comfortable, all things considered. Again, that split from Na'Vi is wild, but they should. And they're definitely a team that I love to watch do this, because if they realize the opportunity is there, they take it. And for such a young team, for such young players, they are really starting to come into their own.
I mean, it's an open buffet, and they're realizing that every section of it comes for free. It's like, why not take an extra piece of cake if it's available?
Yeah, of course. As day trade as well, I still look towards Flash, because day trade will at some point have to consolidate somewhere, and I do hope it's on his compound.
Depending, of course, on where the next circle takes us, that would 100% be where you would want them to go. Freecs, in the meantime, starting to, I think, realize that they're being somewhat surrounded by Expendables players, as Danawa now, again, the only team to really do that hard wrap towards the north, but little do they know, the Circle had other plans in mind. They were south of Power Grid when they started this rotation, and look where they are towards the northwest now, behind half the server in trying to make their way towards the next circle.
So you remember all the conversation we were having about the rotations? We'll completely throw that out the window.
To some extent, yes. To another extent, no. Because everything, if we take the road from San Martin up to Cruz del Valle, that kind of cuts off the northwest section of this map, everything from there and southeast, which is over half the map, is an open hill up towards Minas Gerais, which means you can't use that for rotations whatsoever. So if you're trying to hard wrap on this, coming from the southern side, you're effectively going in completely blind. Well, so there's a lot of space in this circle you just really can't utilize at all.
Well, not only that, but there's already so many teams set up in that position, Toby, so the teams that are going to be rotating from there are going to be picked apart by not just one, but multiple teams, as FaZe find themselves in a comfortable position as well. 17 now. Currently sat here just at that bowl, and then Daytrade now starting to make their move there from the north as well. BB team as well behind it, and TSM will have to make some pretty wide rotations here if they want to avoid any early game woes.
Yep, it's not going to be easy to try and make this rotation, that's for sure. Thanadol will be chilling alongside two of his teammates, as Norin still in the vehicle towards the northeast. Not sure if he's gonna, I mean, honestly, they're not being pushed right now, and if anyone's coming in, it's either gonna be an E-pickup or vehicle. So as long as he has his car parked right, it should be just fine to try and maintain that split. We never know where this next circle is gonna take us, so might as well grab as much as you can and maintain control of it until you're forced to give it up.
More importantly, if you're 17, Cerberus, or KDF, who actually has a pretty greedy split in this circle.
Yeah.
Considerably. You're very happy because it's notoriously difficult to make it anywhere in the center of this circle if you're not already one of the teams established there.
I mean, you know what? I want to go off of what you're saying. Normally, we see day one of Grand Finals be teams playing pretty safe. Of course, everything is at stake here, but maybe it's the combination of us doing a best of 12 final for the first time in a long time. But if you look at the map and just look at splits in general, Falcons, massive split on Minas. Expendables, insane split
yeah,
down
that's very true.
Hacienda. Freecs trying to maintain their two-way split. FaZe Clan split towards the north. Na'Vi wide split on the northeastern side. Everyone is playing aggro. Everyone is saying, you know what, we'll claim it. We don't play scared. We want to maintain full control here. Only really losers in all of this is the teams that had to rotate far, and that's Danawa, AGG, and TSM, who are all trying to wrap into the south side.
Yeah, definitely losers in this shift, and that's exactly the teams that you were mentioning. For AGG, though, they do have a little bit of a foothold into that circle, and they're actually taking shots here at Danawa, but Loki getting very close here to the bottom half of that split could start to cause problems and actually open the window for TSM.
And it's so terrible for these teams. The rotation in itself was long enough already, but now you have to do it side by side with opponents, not exactly making things any easier. And this, of course, goes straight back to what I was saying before. Yes, the northwest is where the compounds is. It's amazing, but there's no way they can claim center because the center is an open hill. Normally, you have this leapfrog situation of everyone bouncing further center. But this time around, there was nowhere for the teams in the northwest to kind of backfill inside the circle, so they're forced to do this wide wrap. They can't go center. They can't even backfill all the way straight south because there's nothing to really play for. So smart on Danawa to come off the plateau towards Power Grid early. They do lose Loki. I don't think there's any way they get him back up, but the circle centers on the crossroads. Open fields galore if you don't have a compound to play.
And, I mean, there are dips there to play, but this early in the game, especially with how many teams are already condensed to the center of the circle, is going to cause a lot of issues for the teams that do end up inevitably taking those dips. Fortunately for Danawa, they find a little bit of a foothold. This is actually a great position to start harassing the teams around them and then move forward. They do have ridges to move forward, and they have vehicles, and so they should be fine. TSM as well have found themselves on the very west side of this towards San Martin. They're actually going to get the high ground, all things considered, so they as well will find a little bit of a break here in this rotation.
But well aware now that AG Global, or All Gamers Global, are sat up the hillside up above them, so it's limited how much they can scout. Metrical, they're not going to care to do wide rotations. They're going to send it full speed center. Ice left down already. Mingmei instantly to follow. Summer goes down here as well. They're dipped to just one player alive. Heaven, those get taken down or at least knocked, but instantly on approach, Petrichor is torn apart.
And that was a bold move from Petrichor, but amazing defense coming out of KDF there, as that is such a crucial compound in this circle.
Yet another fight about to happen as Daytrade. Again, we saw them before trying to maintain their split, as BP team now backfill, pulling up on this position. In BB Team's defense, they were just hit by a massive sandstorm, so it's very limited what they could really scout. The time that they would have want to spend exploring and looking around towards what's available in the north and east side, they simply don't have that anymore with this circle already closing in. So therefore, we got to take the first and the best thing available. Hey, there's a building over there. Let's push it. And for now, it looks like they're able to claim at least this portion of it. Issue is they're not inside the circle yet.
Yeah, they're going to have to push forward. I do like Day Trade and what they're trying to do here. They've left Danadol up towards the east on the hill in the circle so that if they need to back up or once they inevitably finish that fight, if they're able to make it out with BB Team, they have a good position to at least scout from and plan their next move, which most likely will be somewhere around Cerberus, or if they can't, send it into Hacienda without taking casualties.
BB Team concede this push, don't like what they saw. They had a douche up on the hillside still to make sure no one's backfilling them. Wise decision-making on their part. Phase 3 can easily be tanked in terms of wider rotation. Of course, Phase 4's work gets a little bit more dicey. You burn through your meds rather quickly, but BB Team didn't like what they saw, and now they're going to try and wrap further towards the south.
Looks like TSM have found themselves back at home in Hacienda as they snuck in just above the Expendables. Valley Thai now, these are the dips I was talking about. Yes, they're very good, but especially when you have a team like KDF, if they have util, can cause a disastrous situation for them.
Nade bait for sure. You think it's free, you think it's safe.
And they're already coming out.
The nades are coming in. Look at their icons. They're all trying to lob nades forward. And you see Valley Thai, I love the response here. Instantly spread out, spread out. We cannot have everyone get taken down.
And so they do spread out. They throw smokes as well. Again, another smart move. Caused a little bit of confusion and not an easy target for KDF to hit as they had just dispatched of the team of Petrichor, and they're given yet another circle.
And look at this circle and how much space we continue to have to be practically unplayable now. The compound on the southern side, up on Minas, is still available, and I'd be surprised if Falcons don't go there, because they're going to have a perfect overview of everything happening down below. BB Team, we saw before, they had to make a play in some direction. Good thing for TSM that they hear the vehicles, they go back on the northern side of Hacienda, because they was actually they were all sat on the southern side, looking forward, looking towards the circle, looking to where to go next, but able to get back here and defend before BB Team comes in the compound.
And that's the thing about timing, Toby, is I imagine BB Team would have been here sooner if they didn't run into Day Trade and they didn't have that issue. And so TSM, again, scouting that, saw the early opportunity and took it, and now they are all the better for it.
BB Team stuck in rotation hell here. They had a good angle early on, but didn't like the fight that they could have taken against Day Trade. Now caught in the open, down to barely any HP. Sparrow should fall to that nade. Nope, not going to happen. A little bit of a dust cloud comes up, granting some visual cover for Sparrow, but don't think he's long for this world.
The saving grace here for BB Team is the fact that Haisaki had a grenade out, so he couldn't just finish them off. They were so low, and this has given them the opportunity to come in and go for the trade, and he gets caught with a grenade in his hand.
Not even a grenade, a smoke. He was waiting for his teammates to arrive, but now they're starting to take shots from afar as well. Himas comes in, flanks the first, Phil first, will get one in return, and BB Team will be eliminated, but it's just Himas left alive. And now in the meantime, back towards Valley Thai we go as they start finally getting taken down by some of the nades lopped over by Kwangdong Freecs.
And Cerberus actually fell, so Valley Thai now with just 2 members alive. It's Latai and Unique, and the mortars from Bean are starting to come out.
To make matters even worse, there's no way Valley Thai gets the lift to say to ride home about this one. Now with Falcons, as we said just before, most likely looking to take the position up on the hillside on the southern side of the circle. They should be able to see what's going on down here as well. That's 3:29 pops up on the screen, and Valley Thai is asunder.
Direct hit right on top of Valley Thai. Man, those mortars must feel good to land as we now move to Na'Vi, who have, as you said, we were watching them earlier on the north side, now having to contend with Day Trade. A quick knock coming out from Thanadol.
Don't think they were expecting him to be this close, able to find the first. Now we'll see what they can make of the element of surprise that just had gone in their favor. Thanadol is going to be traded, should fall to his own nade in a second, as well as Thifex peeks on over, finds Belmoth too.
So 3 members still up of Na'Vi. They're doing a good job of recovering and putting a lot of pressure here on Day Trade, who now have their back against just a shack here, and it looks like TSM now will take what was the remains of Valley Thai in this dip, and I think fortunately for them, KDF is probably out of util.
Yeah, should not have a whole lot more to work with. As Flash, the single player left alive for Day Trade, try to make something happen, but Na'Vi has this one on lockdown. There should be nowhere for him to go in this fight as the circles keep centering up. Freecs will take yet another one.
And they're in a catch-9 situation, and you gotta love that if you're the Freaks. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you take those all day long. Falcons now also have to make a rotation in addition to AGG on their west side. There are a few dips to be played, but the cover is really not all that great, especially on that south side. Meanwhile, the Expendables now trying to rotate on the west side are going to be right in the crosshairs of AGG.
Stopping on the shack initially, but of course they're well aware that that's not inside the circle. They have to continue further forward.
And so Sonics as well, they're going to be comfortable in the circle. 17 don't have to move. The onus really now is actually onto FaZe and Na'Vi on the east side of this as we're looking at Danawa just trying to hold off the line against the Expendables.
I'm loving the timing of the rotation of Expendables, though. They didn't make this move before the Western Hill was all out of the circle. They knew they wouldn't be able to play here if there were teams sat behind them, shooting them in the back. But they saw All Gamers Global having to back off. Now they make the play. Now they try and see if they can take the fight to Danawa.
And Danawa in a lot of trouble, but a helping hand once again coming from KDF. Nice knock coming out, and they're actually taking the fight also to Na'Vi.
Definitely are. They're trying to keep everyone at their distance. They know the importance or the value of the position that they have in the circles that have gone their way, and they have to make the most of it. Freaks trying to prone down, trying to wait this one out, and Expendables really with no other option than just pushing on forward.
And I like the fact that Sparking is starting to flex out as a solo. He knows he needs to get some points. He's probably not going to be able to do much, especially in that dip as a solo. And so he's looking for any opportunity.
Yeah.
He's actually going to find Hikari, and that's going to be a knock in Onyx in a minefield. Just trying to dodge all this utility. Nades coming left and right, still keeping it together somehow.
And all these smokes are starting to disappear as well, so the cover there was before is no more. And Onyx down to just 1 HP as Tanvu with a headshot through the window finds Steel, and that's Danawa out in 10th.
And meanwhile, AGG has actually moved towards the Falcons now. Flood and Roth are trying to hold this one off as you see the other two members here on the high ground trying to provide any form of cover that they can. Flood is going to step over, but Sir T will find.
Sir T able to get one, gets the second player down as well. Falcons were in a 2-2 split, so very nice approach here by All Gamers Global. Again, it isn't just a Tycon train. No, the rest of the boys definitely pack a punch too.
Reload and Snakers forced to move down here. They do have the high ground, but with only 2, they lost so much in this. If they had 4 or at least 3 in this position, there could be so much more that they could do. But they still have a little bit of an advantage over AGG for the time being.
They're inside the circle, and with them, I mean, the most southern or southern hard shifts, there could be a top 3, maybe even, waiting for them. But let's now see. All Gamers Global, well aware they found 2, but now they have to reposition. They have Tycon still playing behind, and he's been hearing the vehicle movements of Expendables further towards the west, so they have to try and keep them at a distance, have to try and force them to potentially go north of the road. But of course, everyone waiting for this next circle to pop. Where are we going to go in this circle? As now FaZe is starting to get torn apart by 17. Blink and you'll miss it.
Absolute destruction of FaZe as look at the control that AGG has as they're slowly making their way and trying to take away any form of control that the Expendables have on the west side. Meanwhile, Sonics can peek over this ridge, or at least try to peek over this ridge, but really they need to deal with 17.
Ooh, All Gamers Global thought they had more time to do this. Now a little bit of a helping hand coming through from the Expendables. Dark Juice finds Snakers, so that's going to suppress them at least for a while. Falcons are outside the circle, so if All Gamers Global can just survive for long enough, they have a really, really good southern position to play from. But they want all their numbers back on their feet. They're currently sat in 15th. Should this next circle go south, and should they be able to get all players up alive, this could end up being a very good game for them.
And we've seen what they can do with space, especially when they have 4 alive. And as you said, this is definitely not just the Tycon show. Zest, Sapao, Sir T have come in the clutch when absolutely needed, and they've put up numbers, and they have been so good at making sure that they have been supporting Tycon, not only just in that role, but also putting up the frags.
Yeah. The next teams to have to make moves here are 17, Na'Vi, and Falcons. Falcons having to come off the hill here ain't going to be easy, especially with the entire server knowing exactly where they are. So curious to see what they're going to do. Na'Vi out towards the eastern side. You see them there in the back of the screen, trying to figure out what they can do. Maybe there's a third party to pull up on here. If Falcons get a knock, if they opt to engage on it, maybe they can follow up on something. Or maybe even they can help out Falcons getting a knock towards All Gamers Global for them.
And that's what they want to do. The problem is Tycon is very aware of that position, and he's taking shots. He's actually putting some damage on there. And for For at least Na'Vi, they have a little bit of a break, but they're still not in the circle. They've made it onto the foothold of this road, but they still have to move forward.
Xiaobei finding one of the Falcons members from afar. Look at the distance that they're taking these shots. And they go, guys, you have Sonics to deal with. Can you please just
leave us alone?
On them? We already have 4 teams trying to take us out. Give us a chance already.
And so Sonics now, they did take out one member of 17, making this a little easier for them. But most importantly, 17 have to move into the Sonics, not the other way around. And that position that Sonics is holding is so good for team fighting.
For all the efforts Falcons put in to try and make that run down the hill, this is going to be a 2-point game for them. Goes to show how brutal PUBG is at a global stage. You cannot just make a couple of good moves and earn points off of it. No, it's 24 to 28 minutes of everything going your way, whether it's in your merit or, well, other teams in circles.
So again, my eyes are straight onto 17 and Na'Vi. Na'Vi trying to take shots at 17 because if they actually do eliminate them, they can play that road ridge a little more effectively. Not great, KDF still aware of that position, but they can at least move forward. So they find themselves in the circle, but now they're getting shot at by KDF as Salute will also find 17.
Yep, Freecs continuing to maneuver around smartly inside the compound that they have available. It's actually a surprisingly big compound to maintain full control of, because if they allow for just one team to get a foothold, just like that, you'll see 3-4 more other teams try to join the chaos as well. So the fact that they're able to still maintain this position all to themselves goes to show they've been playing a phenomenal defensive game from inside this Crossroads compound.
And I feel like that's been the story of KDF so far this event. Their defense in these compounds has been immaculate, and they've been able to hold out multiple teams in different games. And so not at all surprised coming into this. And you're absolutely right. That is not an easy compound to hold. It has a big warehouse and a concrete prio. It is difficult stuff.
Teams collapse in the buildings. And I think a lot of it honestly comes down to them taking out Petrichor as fast as they did. Because had that lasted for a little while longer, has one more knock gone against them, could have definitely been a whole other outcome of that fight. Heaven able to find Divix on approach. Now it's just Fairest up. I don't think there's any chance he gets to him. Does he commit this? No. Try and get the rest up. I'm not sure. In the meantime, now Sonics, knowing that they have to cross the road as well, will try and do so. Able to find the first one. Duck Juice down, Delvin down as well, as Strimsy gets the 2-point flush. 6 points confirmed so far for Sonics as they manage to make landfall on the other side of the circle. Issue is they're not in sight of the new circle just yet.
No, and not only they're not inside, Toby, but they still have to contest with AGG, who has made it into that west side dip. And at least for the time being, you also see KDF somewhat distracted there by the members of Na'Vi, but Salute is still making sure to hold on to that west side, or at least make sure that their presence is known.
My one fear is that Freecs have lost track of Little Ghost. They were fighting 17 earlier, but he's still alive on the other side. In the meantime now, All Gaming Global trying to dismantle Sonics. If they can take them out here, they will have all the space on the western side of the circle. Cest, solid headshot connected, but can't quite find the knock onto Strimsy.
No, but the good thing here is that the Sonics are all on the back foot. Those two members in that dip are going to have to be saved by Hwin, but a huge turn will come from Tycon.
Great shots coming through. As we now see Cest again. I mean, All Gaming Global, they want to try and just cause chaos. They want to force the teams into one another. They know they only have one more player, make that 2, sorry, to deal with on the side of Sonics. But with H-Win and Tick knocked already, it's just Strimsy on his feet. And Freecs now starting to flex out on the edge of the compound.
But as you said, I'm looking at 17. I'm looking at Little Ghost, the last member, given a little bit of a chance to move forward as Human will finish off the Sonics.
What a great game for the Freecs. Now they find one more as well. 17 Gaming eliminated in 4th place. Just 3 teams left alive. Fair is prone with a P90. Dangerous weapon in the hands of a dangerous player. We'll see if he can somehow turn the tide in who's going to come up victorious here. But for Kwangdong Freecs, they had the Miramar game on the east side of where we currently find ourselves in the group stages. And now they do it here again. Their ability to maintain control of these compounds. Yes, they get the circles, but they're all over the place and trying to defend them. Sir T will find Fairest. More kills gone the way of AG Global, but now a 4v3. Look at the util availability. All Gaming Global have gone through practically everything up until this point, and Freecs still looking solid.
Yeah, but All Gaming Global has such a good ridge line to play with here, Toby, and because of that, they have a small advantage here because you see the center of the compound that's in is now just those tanker barrels, or there's big silos.
Yeah.
And so that's not that great for cover, but the big thing for KDF, as you said, is that the amount of utility on AGG's side is very limited.
The game will end inside this fence, just in between those 2 silos you see there, but Freecs will have to leave the positions they're in before All Gaming Global has to peek over that ridge line, or commit to the ridge line, I should say. So let's see maybe if Tycoon and the boys can get a knock or two before the final full fight comes through.
And what a big win this would be for AGG, especially with these 3 members alive.
They were in 15th place coming into this game.
Now they find themselves in 10th, and they're still at least guaranteed 6 more points for second place. And so with this ridgeline, what can they do? And as you stated, most importantly, KDF are the ones that have to move first.
Exactly. Well, I mean, they don't have to leave the compound first, but at least have to maneuver into the open. They still have 6 smokes left to work with, so it should be possible for them to regroup. There's a crate out there in the open. I think it's been looted already. As a matter of fact, it has not. So level 3 gear and a potential gun switch for the final fight could be available for the Freaks. But let's see, AG Global, I feel like if they can't find a player in transition now that they start to maneuver around, that could very well end up being game, because they have no smokes. They might have a smoke grenade launcher that we can't see, but really, I mean, they're down to 1 or 2 pieces of util that could be effective in this fight. Yeah,
no util at all. It's just going to come down to aim battling, to skill, making sure that they get the knocks that they need.
Do you wrap north? You know, they can't. It's too open. I was thinking maybe there's a ridge they can wrap around and try and get an off angle towards the west. But Salute, as you can see here, is looking for it. He's anticipating them to try and make some sort of a split play. Have a guy bait the attention in one direction while the other guys peek to the other. But it's not the case. All Gaming Global, they understand the terrain. They understand the situation. They have to just sit practically on top of each other and try and see if they can lock in those headshots.
And I'm sure AGG would have liked to take that dip that Ferris was in, but they couldn't. Heaven was watching that the entire time, so he's blocked off that angle entirely, as the Freaks now starting to make their move forward with much more utility, or not much, but a little more utility than AGG had. But look at this Tycon! He makes his way to the silo.
He made it to the wall, now inside the compound proper as well. We'll see if this phenomenal player out of Vietnam can get something going here. He has done much harder things than winning a fight like this before, so it's not out of the realms of possibility. But still, it's going to take an incredible effort for the Global boys to bring this one home.
So with only 1 member actually off-angled here, the other 3 members of Kwangdong Freecs are just sitting together, which gives the advantage, I would say, to AGG now as they're coming around the same peak.
Yep, they have the angle, they have to work, they have to move lads. It's a silo versus silo position. Still nades on the side of Freaks, but Tycon opens up the party with the first knock onto Salute. A big loss on the side of the Freaks. Now flashes dropped on forward. There are still flashes to be counted on the side of All Gaming Global as Guman, massive off angle, trying to isolate, but look at Tycon, spots him instantly.
And Tycon taking a little bit of damage though, but he backs up, which gives Freaks a little bit of time. They need to push forward though. They're going to be stuck. Zest going for the headshot on Gumin. He doesn't find it.
Does he get back to the boys on the backside of the silo? He might. No, it's not going to happen. They did get the rest on the other though. So we're back to a 3v3. They got the reset up initially, but now here comes the push. They're all the way up close. 30 trying to peek around, doesn't have a rest to work with.
And you have to imagine that AGG notices now that KDF is on the other side. He comes around, but what a return!
Seth finds one bean, Salute to find the other. Now it's a 1v2. It's all on Tycon to bring this home. He's wrapping around, trying to get the play on the other side. There's the flash. He's completely blinded. Salute makes the run for it. Tycon will go down. What an attempt, though. What an effort to try and bring it home. But in the end, what an incredible game played by the Freaks.
The defense they had in that compound initially leading into the final fight, I think they got 17 kills that game.
Not only do the team that start in that compound not always come out victorious, but when they do, it's never double digit.
No.
They sit in the compound, they get suppressed from everywhere, but instantly, Freaks knew how to play this. They take charge, they isolate so many teams from one another, not allowing them to take part in any of the fighting. They wanted all the kills, and they sure as hell got them too.
And the more important thing here that we should mention about KDF is they just won Tekken here, which means the higher